in like back in the day, we played in those temperatures. So like I have my two coldest games ever were in provincials because provincials would be like state championship.
Okay. I was
So
going to
we went
ask
to
what that
state.
was.
Yeah, so provincials. We have provinces. You guys have states. So you go to provincials. Basically, you're
Provincials.
playing, the best teams from every city that won, whatever. Anyways, when we went to provincials, it's always in November, which is obviously a little colder.
Yeah.
And 2 years in a row, I had in like minus 27 ish. Still the two coldest games I've ever played in. But anyways, we don't do that anymore. Like we had a minus 22 game this year for high school, and they canceled the game. So
Wow.
like we don't play in the same cold temperatures. And like back then, I was in grade 7, right? And now I'm coaching high school kids, and like they won't play in that. So it's they don't even play at that temperature anymore.
I had to walk uphill in the snow both ways to get to school back in my day.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be 26 and get to be the bitter old guy already.
Yeah.
You guys have it so easy. You know that? You get all these indoor games. You guys get to play your provincials inside dome stadiums.
Okay,
Provincials.
I'll set the record straight. There's no dome stadiums out here.
There needs to be, though. Right? Shouldn't there be?
The only
Without-
place that has a dome stadium is in BC, like where the Lions play and like where the Canucks play. They have some domes, but like that's it. There's no domes in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and like we don't have like frankly, dude, our CFL team, the Stampeders,
The Stampeders.
they should have like they shouldn't have folded, but I don't want to say it's not well run, but like some of the stuff they do is just ridiculous in the decisions they make. And a lot of the decisions they make, which look bad to the outside, are because the CFL makes no money. So I understand what they're doing, but like our football stadium is from the 60s and it's solid concrete and it sucks. And everyone's biggest complaint is that it's a terrible stadium and they should rip it down. But like, where are they getting the money to build a new stadium?
Right.
Like, there's no money in like the CFL. Like, and they can't do anything to the stadium because it's concrete. They can't add Wi-Fi. They can't add TVs. They can't do shit to it because it's just solid concrete.
Wow.
So it's the way it is, and there's no change in it.
I was going to ask about the taxpayer dollars, but I don't want to get into that with how it's different in Canada and whatnot.
So we in Calgary, it was a hot topic, was a new arena. And so the Edmonton Oilers have what's called the Rogers Center. So Rogers is like our biggest telecommunications provider in Canada. They own a lot of the arenas in Canada. They own the Vancouver Canucks is the Rogers Arena. Edmonton Oilers is the Rogers Arena. They own a ton.
Huh.
Anyway, so what happened was Calgary's, okay, I'm going to show you. So
Okay.
I'll show you where I live. So this is the stadium in Calgary
Canada
for our
101
hockey
with
team.
Tony, folks.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the Saddle Dome,
I see why they call it a saddle dome.
shaped like a saddle. Cool
A
idea
little
back
on the
then.
nose there.
Okay. So this is the Saddle Dome. Now the reason the Saddle Dome sucks is, number one, the shape of it is not, like, pieces have fallen off on the inside and stuff because of the way it's designed. And then also these seats, like, to get to these seats at the top, the nosebleed seats are ridiculously high and steep in the air. And also the shape of it means no one wants to come here for concerts because this is terrible for sound.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So all of the concerts have to go to the Rogers Arena in Edmonton, which is stupid because Edmonton has half the population of Calgary, but any good concert, you always have to drive to Edmonton 3 hours away. So this is the Rogers Arena. Super nice. Very modern.
Yeah, that looks modern.
Yep. Okay. And then here, I'll show you one more. This is McMahon Stadium. This is where the Stamps play. This photo is probably original. It looks identical to this now. Like, legit, just new turf. Like here it is.
That's a stadium. That's not that's not just an arena.
No, so this is our football team stadium.
Okay, legit.
Nothing's changed here. But anyway, so we have talked. The city talked about, what we were gonna do for like a new hockey arena for. It has come up every 3 years for the past 15 years. We need a new arena, and every time it's like, oh, like the owner of the Flames and the mayor of Calgary like hate each other, so they couldn't get a deal done. So they like made a separate committee to like take those two people out of it because we needed taxpayer dollars and all this stuff. And then like it was supposed to go through and then didn't go through. And then a couple years ago, it was going to be like 500 million to build it.
Jeez.
Right. And then at the last minute, there was a thing where our current mayor, Jody Gondek or something, was like, hey, we want you guys to now pay to like fix some sidewalks or something. And like, we also want you to pay to like put solar panels on the roof of it. And the Flames said like, fuck you, we're relocating the team. We're done.
I'm out.
Right. So then they paused everything. And then it looked like 2 or 3 years ago, we were going to lose the Flames to one of like the NHL's like expansion places. We thought we were going to lose the Flames to be the Seattle Kraken. And anyways, with that, they finally agreed on a new arena, and they just broke ground on it like in September of this year or last year, I guess. And now it's like 1.2 million, or sorry, 1.2 billion.
Yeah. Okay. You see, like that's where I was gonna say they're tripping over 500 million, and I was gonna say all these other stadiums are like, oh yeah, 2 billion, we'll build you a new stadium, and then the state and then the team, everyone's all, yeah, done deal, let's do it.
Yeah. No, it's like they bickered back and forth for 5 years. And in the time they bickered, by now the stadium could be done, and it could have cost the taxpayer less than half the same amount.
Jeez.
Yeah.
More Canada 101, learn about the taxes, learn about indoor stadiums, learning about, what are they called again? Prevention. What are they? The state?
Provinces?
States? No. I know what provinces are, but the state championships?
Provincials?
Provincials. Yeah, look at that.
Yep.
Canada 101 with Tony.
See, the funny thing is, I just know all this stuff about the states, and I understand how it works, and you Americans just have no clue what we got going on.
Nope.
All right, guys, we're back with some Cleat heat here. First up, we've got George Pickens. He wore a pair of yellow and black Jordan 14 customs. These are pretty cool. I think they're inspired by the Ferrari, right? These are Ferrari. There was a Ferrari red pair that dropped. Did they do a yellow pair too? I don't know.
Ferraris, yep.
Yeah, you see a little hit of carbon fiber on there, bright yellow.
Got it's the silhouette, though. I know that's the Ferrari one.
Yeah, these are pretty sweet. He also wore a pair of LeBron 10s, but I couldn't find a picture of him actually wearing them. But I think he warmed up in them, and I think he played part of the game in them. I remember seeing him on the field, but I couldn't find any photos, unfortunately. But yeah, George Pickens, these are cool. What do we got next? Next up, we got Mr. CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys.
We got CeeDee Lamb,
Cowboys fan. So we got some Kobe's here. They're white and blue. He wore a similar pair earlier in the year that was like navy and white. But this pair is like a white, silver, and blue. Really clean, really good look overall. But not enough, unfortunately. All right. Next up, we have the man, the myth, the legend.
Who's next? Jalen
Ramsey. Am I ahead of you guys or behind you guys? I think I'm all sort of whack. You guys are like delayed.
Yeah, you're skipping all over the place right now.
Oh man. Well, I'm just gonna go for it, and hopefully it comes out fine. All right. Next up, we have Jalen Ramsey in his own custom pair of JR1s. Yeah, and these are a custom by Jordan Diab. We've talked about him a bit on the channel. We've got some cool videos coming with him, and these are clearly inspired by Jordan 5. They look really cool. Big fan of these. They've got like a little bit of Tony, do you remember what the texture is for this orange bit?
Not off the top of my head.
Looks like gator. Snakeskin. Yeah.
Well, they're pretty dope regardless. So yeah, Jalen Ramsey, Cleat heat. Looks pretty good. Next up, we have... Do we know how to say this guy's name? Jeremiah Owusu.
These are crazy.
Oromoa, I think. I think that's how we say it. So unfortunately, in this exact picture, he's not wearing these cleats. But these are the Jordan 16, which is like a Jordan I don't really know much about, but they're kind of crazy looking. Like I said, he's not wearing them in this photo, but I'm pretty sure he wore them at some point. I just couldn't get a good photo of him in them. Not really the guy I would expect to pull out some Jordans, but supposedly he did. More customs from Coda Customs. Pretty sweet.
No. Who next?
Then next up we have Devin White. So these are a unique pair right here. So he wore them only in warm-ups. He decided, hey, the Jordan PEs that Jordan's sending me are outdated. They're the old, he wears a lot of Jordan 5s, a lot of Jordan 1s. He's like, let me get the new Jason Tatum signature shoe on a football cleat. So these are the Jason Tatum 2s, I believe. And they're reconstructed by Sean, the Don, the man, the myth, the legend, to look like a Jason Tatum 2. So that's a cool shoe we've never seen on the gridiron before. So shout out to Devin White for bringing us something new and a big win over the Eagles. Speaking of the Eagles,
who's next?
We have Jalen Hurts. So honestly, don't love the use of these cleats with these uniforms because there's no Kelly Green in them. It doesn't really make a ton of sense. Maybe that's why they lost. Probably not. Regardless, they're good-looking cleats. White, Kelly Green, silver swoosh. They look pretty good. Just maybe not with this uniform. And then next up.
Yeah, I don't love that.
Yeah, next up we got Marquise Goodwin
of
the Cleveland Browns. So he wore these a little bit earlier in the year. I think we talked about him on the podcast at some point. I think he wore them like week 1. So it's fitting that he wore them for the first game of the season and then the last game of the season. So they're kind of like a Louis Vuitton print, Nike, Jordan, Dunk. I don't know what's going on. They're pretty crazy though. Total reconstructions by Coda Customs. Cool pair of cleats. The brown, not a great color, but it works with the Browns. So shout out to you, Mr. Marquise.
I think those are some Air Force One silhouettes.
Oh yeah, they definitely are.
You see how they got that little heel tab in the back, and then those are cool. It's cool using the Louis Vuitton color to the brown scheme. That's perfect.
Yeah, good fit, good look. I'm with it.
All right, next up. Oh, we got some OGs here.
Yeah, so next up we got Devonta Smith. He's been pulling out these OGs all year. We did a full video on his, his game day gear throughout the season. These are the Nike Vapor Carbon Flies from 2012 in one of my favorite colorways they came out in, this nice black and silver. So he usually wears these as detachables, and these are indeed detachables. These are like his go-to cleat for grass games. Always cool to see these older cleats on the gridiron. Obviously, these are 12 years old now, which is insane. And it just shows how good they are that they're still being used by NFL guys. Then up next, we have, this is Deshaun Elliott of the Miami Dolphins. So these, what are these? LeBron 8s?
Yeah, these are.
I think they're a LeBron 8 South Beach colorway.
Yeah.
These are pretty sick. Obviously, South Beach, Miami. You got the blue in there, the little bit of pink in there. Perfect for the Dolphins uniforms. They're LeBrons on the gridiron. The colors are perfect. It looks good with the uniforms. Awesome. Just an awesome pair of football cleats. Very, very cool to see these this past week. And then last but certainly not least.
Ooh, I like these.
This is Rashee Rice of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's got like a cartoon pair of, so they're actually Nike Vapor Edge 360 Speeds, but they're designed to look like a Jordan 1 Low. And they're super simple, but they have this nice like cartoonish feel to them. The colors are nice. Just a nice simple pair to end off this week's Cleat Heat of Wildcard Weekend. That's Cleat Heat.